Let's go out to correspondent Joe Khalil, who has been following it all live for us there in Washington. Joe, this is about showing a united Republican Party.
That's what the message seemed to be coming out. And actually, as you see right now, this is President Trump's motorcade. He is just leaving after a meeting here at the NRSC. He made a quick stop over here at the Safari Club, which is actually like a hunter's enthusiast building. He was only in there for a couple of minutes. We're not exactly sure why he went in, but he just now popped out. And as I'm talking to you, you can still see SUV after SUV in his detail. You talk about unity. That is the message from all of the Republican senators, essentially, who left that room today, saying that this was a uniting effort from the former president. I want to let you hear what he said in that press conference that he gave alongside some Republican senators just after he met with them privately. Take a listen.
I just want to thank the Republican Senate, and I want to thank also the House. We met, as you know, with the full House, the Republican House today, and we had a tremendous meeting with them also, and there's great unity. Very similar, different topics, actually, but not that different. And there's one thing in common. We want to make America great again. We want to make our country great again.
And the reason that message might be important if you're a Republican is because it hasn't always been a united conference. And especially when you look at the differences between House Republicans and Senate Republicans, two separate groups with whom the former president met today, they are often on different pages, especially when it comes to certain things that are Trump priorities. So you hear him there giving that message. We actually shouted a question at him when he went in that building and just asked how the meetings went. And someone had asked how the meeting personally went with Mitch McConnell. He just kind of gave thumbs up and said everything went well. So that is the message, again, coming from the former president. I can tell you on the House Republican meeting earlier this morning, we were told that it focused a little bit more on the 2024 election and specific policy priorities that he thinks Republicans might be able to use and talk about, not just to raise more money when it comes to campaign donations, but he talked about certain talking points. He says they should emphasize tax cuts that he did in the first term, that he plans to do in his second term again, should he win the White House and the election in 2024. Also talked about abortion policy and that he is a bit more hands-off. He recommended Republicans follow his lead on that on a national level, hands-off, saying this should be left up to the states. So there was a lot there today, Nichole, as you can imagine, that the former president trying to emphasize the unity message and just being here, meeting with both Republicans in the House and Senate, at least sends that message, not just with his words, but with his actions as well.
Yeah, and we certainly heard heavy applause from those Republicans for the former president when he finished his comments. Joe, I do want to ask you, last hour you talked about reports that the former president made some critical comments in today's meetings about Milwaukee. And we know Milwaukee is hosting the Republican National Convention. That is supposed to happen in just a few weeks. What can you tell us about these comments?
So apparently, just based on what we're hearing and seeing from people who were in the room, some Republicans there, there was apparently a comment that the former president made saying Milwaukee was horrible. Now, there is some context there. Other Republicans came out and said that never happened. He never said those words. And then you've got a few others that came out and said he did use the word horrible, but he wasn't describing Milwaukee as a whole or as a city. He was specifically referencing the crime problem that we've got in a number of cities across America, large cities in particular. And the comment that he made was specifically tailored to crime. So they were arguing that people who say he says Milwaukee's horrible were simply taking him out of context. And we already, not surprisingly, have a response from the Democrats, from President Biden and his campaign in response, saying here, quote, if Donald Trump thinks Milwaukee is so horrible, he shouldn't come to our city. Donald Trump looks down on Milwaukee. He looks down on Wisconsinites. He looks down on everyone who isn't one of his billionaire donors. But we already knew that. Again, that statement coming from the Biden-Harris campaign, someone representing them from the Milwaukee area. So not surprisingly, they've taken that and they've run with it. Republicans trying to sort of clean up that message today the damage politically may have already been done there. Nichole.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.